Hello, everyone. It is I, Lauren LC. I'm super excited because I have a special client testimonial. If you don't know me, I'm Lauren LC. I am the founder and the chief wellness officer here at Revival. We're all about holistic well-being for women of color to be able to prioritize their health, their hormones, and overall well-being. So we talk a lot about gut health here and how to utilize self-care and breath work as a way to implement and as a tool, a part of a tool to put in your wellness toolbox. Help me talk today, and use that to be able to live a more thriving life. A lot of us are overworked, we're busy, we're on the go, and a lot of times we're not practicing mindfulness. We don't realize the things that we're doing. And a lot of women that do come to me, like Lindsay here, and I'll introduce her in a minute, come to me and they're tired of being tired. They're struggling with either having pain in their bodies. A lot of women who work with me have autoimmune warriors, or have diseases in the body, and they're looking for more good work-life balance and overall just wellness. They're really focused on well-being more than the aesthetics. We get the results of releasing weight if it needs to be released, but really having a lot more harmony in their body and in their lives. So I'm super excited to have Lindsay here. So Lindsay, if you want to go ahead and just introduce yourself really briefly, and we're going to have a conversation about how your experience been working with me.
Yeah, so briefly, as Lauren says, I'm Lindsay. I am a Army veteran. I work with children in foster care. So I'm a community advocate. I work with veterans. I'm a veteran advocate. I do a lot of things, but to keep it short, I'm multi-passionate and I am an entrepreneur.
So as you heard, there's a lot of balls that Lindsay juggles, right? So I'm sure that at some point, and we could talk about this through all the things you said, like one, entrepreneurship is a whole heavy lift on its own, let alone you were a veteran, a lot of the work that took place with that and taking care of children, like so many things, right? So a lot of the things that I'm hearing is that you are a woman of full service in so many aspects of your life. What what actually got you to the point that inspired you to connect with me to get some support? Like, was some of the challenges you're having? And I do want to hear them before I say, of course I know, but I want to share and like kind of needle the thread together of even challenges that I had when it comes to being an autoimmune warrior at that.
Yeah. So when we connected, I was in the beginning of my healing journey. I guess it was like in 2021, the end of 2021, I got diagnosed with fibromyalgia, which changed a lot. And so I'm seeking, how to heal my body. And when we started working together, I was like, okay, I have to get my gut in order. So that's how we connected. I really like the fact that you created a space, a safe space for someone like me to actually be vulnerable in, so I can, put down those walls and explore to see what exactly is going on with me.
Yeah. And that's a common thing that I see, right? A lot of us women, a lot of the women I work with are multi-passionate, like you said, dualpreneurs, like they may work a full-time job as well as have a passion or a side business. So, like I said, there's a lot of balls in the air, a lot of responsibilities, a lot of things juggling. And a lot of times we have very high roles, right? So we do need to have a space where we feel safe enough, a space that we can be vulnerable to share that we're going through a bit of a challenge. And we want to make sure people are qualified to even support what we're doing. Because, and I never forget, I've had another client before was like, I need someone who can carry this weight that I'm carrying. You know what I mean? Like, beyond just the like, okay, tell me what to eat. What are the things I need to, I already have those qualifications, but I know when it comes to a holistic part. Like here at Revival, our tagline is to revive the mind, body, and spirit, right? I can easily give you a nutrition plan. I'm sure you work with many people and got what food you should be doing, what you should eat. And that feels like it's a revolving door of like something else to do or other things. But when we get to the root, with Lindsay, when I worked with her, we did a Divine Women Power plan where she had a 3-month plan. What is I did a very intense analysis of questions,
Yes.
very, very in depth of things that a lot of people don't even think about, from your lifestyle to even what you eat to even, doing a gut health analysis assessment to see as far as what is the stool looking like, what are those things doing, what's happening when you eat, when you're not eating. But the thing is, we go beyond that, right? With the breakthrough session. Like I'm very, very serious when I say the mind, body, and spirit, all three has to be on the table, because there's times where we may eat all the right things, but if we're not taking care of our mind or our spirit, we still have challenges, right? And that was me at one point. I ate well, I exercised, but my spirit was just not settled. Like I didn't even know what sitting still and calm in my mind or any of those things look like. I didn't have an understanding on the connection of gut health. Like I never thought about that. So that is definitely something that I notice a lot and that I hear for a lot of the women that I particularly work with. What would you say, Lindsay, as far as, okay, what brought you there was just, seeing that you needed to have something put together. Did you have like pain? What, if you don't mind sharing, like what challenges that you were experiencing?
Yeah, so I have a lot of a lot of symptoms, or side effects of fibromyalgia. Widespread pain is one. While in the military, I hurt my back, and I rode that out my entire military career. And when I retired, I continued with that high stress life. When I decided that I was going to, focus on myself and heal myself, that's when I realized, all the pain really throughout my body, because I was more still, listening to my body a little bit more. So I said, I have to do something about this. Going to the doctors, every time you go to the doctor, it's a pill for this, it's a pill for that. I'm holistic. Um, that's the approach I choose. And so going to the doctors every time I have a pain, it just wasn't, it was going against what I was trying to do to heal myself. So when we connected, um, I I can't even tell you how excited I've been.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when we did the tongue analysis, that's when I was really like, now we've known each other for a while then, but I was like, oh, she really, really knows
Yeah, the
what
tongue analysis blows people's mind, like how I'm able to connect and see. I'm like I
yes,
said, and I'm big on it. Ain't just, yes, I'm gonna take care of like, okay, this food, these herbs and stuff like that. But I was able to even trigger to know where stress is in your body.
yes,
I was able to pimp, like when people try to act like they have a good stress, because there's a lot of times we don't know how stressed we are, but the body, and I talk about this book all the time, the body keeps the score. It knows and it shows up. So the tongue analysis gives me so much, because the tongue is literally like the entryway into your gut health, right? From the tip of your tongue all the way down to our anus. Like there's so much data that we can use until there. So like the assessment that I ask gives me all the things of like, what is the process like before you eat and then after, as far as defecating. And then when we have that assessment and I look on the tongue, it's a good tell. Like I'm able to get your self-care plan together and what are some things that was coming up. And we won't share here, but I was able to pinpoint something. And then when we did the gut health testing, it solidified what we found, and then now we
yes,
knew how to to go about it. So yeah, I get that all the time when I do the tongue analysis. I could just read it real quick through and like, this is showing up. What's this like? What's that? Okay, we need to implement that, put a self-care plan together. Then I get into the spiritual aspects with the reading. So that's like a little secret gift of mine that a lot of people don't know about. And I also get like, a lot of people really blown away with that. So would you mind telling the experience? Like, I know the tongue analysis was the wower, but when we did your breakthrough session, you also get like an intuitive reading with me where we work on the spiritual aspect. So you mind sharing how that experience was for you?
It every time I am a participant at your readings, it's always spot on, and it always feels like you're talking directly to me. But everything was spot on,
Mm-hmm.
and it really is mind blowing. So, if you have not experienced these readings, you have got to experience these readings. You're like truly, truly missing out. But yeah, it was really, really um, mind blowing how, it was a one on one and it was really, really accurate.
Yeah. And you already, so just to give it back in y'all, so when you work with me and you get your divine women power plan, you have the breakthrough session that includes the intuitive reading. So that's one-on-one. But Lindsay had experience inside of our community and our membership every month. Actually, it's every top of the month I do into self-care spiritual reading. So that one's just more focused on self-care. With the individual reading, it's more like what really comes up for you individually. So it's definitely honed in even more. But like when Lindsay was saying, every time I come to reading, I feel like you're even talking to me. I do a collective reading for our community inside our membership every month, like for those who want to continue to be a part of community and continue to practice and get support on this holistic living lifestyle. But so you already got that before, your individual one-on-one reading. So I always love where I have yet to have where anyone was saying like, no, not quite. And if that ever does come up, which it hasn't, but it may be some like, I think so. Yeah, that's spot on. It really comes into full clarity, like over time, you know what I mean? Like as they continue
Yes.
to work. And there's a lot of power when it comes to when you start taking care of your gut health. I talk about the reason why I center on gut health and the things that I do and what God gave me my gifts for is there's a lot of spiritual components that starts to open up because when we take care of our gut health and we cleanse and we get rid of certain things that we're eating that gets in the way of that area is where our solar plexus takes place. That's the chi energy for those who either went to acupuncture or into yoga or things of that nature. There's so much that opens up. So I always hear it where clarity opens up. I mean, I've had women who've gotten like 3 promotions or stuff they worked so hard on, but when they started taking care of these things that we worked on, where they release a lot of stress and anxiety, they work on their gut health, they really start, like I heard you say, I'm listening to my body. Like when you totally tap in, stuff just starts working and moving in directions with a lot more ease. And we didn't have to get there with so much stress, like what we usually operate with. So last thing I want to say, Lindsay, what would you say, like, okay, after you got your plan, right? So, we do your breakthrough session, you get your tongue analysis, you get the reading right away. So literally the first 90 minutes right away, you got stuff and you're blown away. Then I
Yes.
give you your 3-month plan. So it's like your booklet with everything that you particularly need. And then we finalize with the gut health testing. That takes a little time, but it's literally to solidify a little more what type of herbs and nutrients that you need based on your gut microbiome, what bacteria. So we were kind of blown away even once you got your test, because there's even things that were healthy or things that are known to help with inflammation that literally at this time, we're going to retest later, that you shouldn't be eating because you can't metabolize it. So that was like a huge thing. What would you say was the takeaway? And you've had both your plant and your gut health test results for a little while now. So what would you say how it's benefited you on the other end for Maybe it's only been like a month, but how's that
Yeah.
been for you?
Well, let me just say, the plan. I left that session with a lot more clarity. And so I implemented some of the changes that you had me implement. And I think it was like a week later, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I
Yeah,
feel so much better. Like I can feel it in my body, I can feel it in my gut, like that these changes are working. When I got the gut health test, um, I was very shocked. I was shocked because I thought I was eating all the right things. And when when they tell you to shop the perimeter of the grocery store, that's where all the healthy food is. That's what I shopped. That's what I put in my body. However, it wasn't the right food for me.
hmm,
So once I implemented these changes, and I mean, I think it's been a little over a month.
yeah, like
Um,
5 weeks or something now.
yes, a big change.
I see it. Like I'm just here. I want to give you flowers and compliment you for implementing the
Yes,
work. But
yes.
like I could see the glow. I could see the less inflammation. Like I can
Yes.
totally see it.
But the biggest thing here, well, one of the biggest things is I lost like over 10 pounds. Yes.
Yay!
Just, and that was
It
just
wasn't that
implement.
hard, right? Did you go
No, no,
crazy in the gym and all these hard things? Like, yeah,
no.
yeah,
And anybody who deals with the autoimmune disease and, anything that zaps your energy, going to the gym
yeah,
is
yeah,
not always in my cards, right? It's not always for me. Um, but when just implementing those changes, omitting um the foods to avoid and including my superfoods. Remember, I was like, what am I gonna put in my stir fry now?
yeah. So sometimes, depending, and I've gotten this feedback from a few people, we may be a little disappointed of some of the
Yeah.
things that come up. But the good part is that's not forever. Like we're really at a point of making sure the key things is lifestyle changes, mindset changes, and then dietary changes. So
Yes.
these are all the things that we had to assess of like what is causing that chaos in the body that responded with the pain, the bloating. You would take like 3 bites of food and it's just like I don't have much of an appetite. Like
Hmm.
we have to answer all those things first, heal the gut, and then assess what the body responds as. So that could be where your diet change, your appetite change. You could eat those things that are healthy, but it just wasn't healthy for you right now until we start repairing the gut and increasing and getting the superfoods, the probiotics, the prebiotics, the postbiotics in your body the way it needs to heal first, and then see if we can bring those things back in. Because there was a few things that you was like, that's my favorite. Like, what am I going? I remember saying like, what am I putting in my stir fry? But we find other alternatives. We sit
Yes.
down and we actually create a plan to get like, how can we really do this? So with me, the biggest thing is like, yes, we keep it holistic. I heard most of y'all who all come to me are either always been holistic or wanting to be more holistic because we're tired of just sick and tired of being sick and tired, always having all like different medications that's making us sick or whatever the case may be. So yes, keep it holistic, but let's be realistic too. How can we really implement this? How can we really
Mhm.
have the same food that you really enjoy and find some alternatives? So we really sit down with that. We might have some back and forth tussle. Lindsay was actually a breeze, but I have some kind where it's like, no, I don't like that. Okay. So we got to find things. But the last part is simplistic, like holistic, realistic, and simplistic. How can we make this and keep it simple at the same time too? Because if it is going to be over challenging and more of a task from everything else that you're already going to do, we're going to stay stuck in that cycle. And then years later, you're still kind of like, I need to change, I need to do something. So, would you say of this overall experience and, having your Divine Women Power Plan, doing all this work, that would you feel like that your planning now, living in your lifestyle was holistic, realistic, and simplistic for
Oh,
you?
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yes,
Yeah.
and that um the gut health test, the results, it makes it easy. It makes it easier because, like, to plan your meals, like, what am I going to eat? Well, you pull up the app and it tells you exactly what you should eat, like your
Mm-hmm.
superfoods, what you should be, what you can drink, like for me, the green tea is my super food or under the superfood. So now I'm drinking more green tea. With you, I've increased my water intake. Just going down that list and making it happen. And I don't have to sit here and wonder what I'm going to make. It's right there.
Yep. Yeah. That gut health test solidified the last thing. Like it takes out all the guessing games.
Yes.
And that was the latest thing that I started to implement into the power plan. Like those before we started doing a gut health test, it was helpful. But like I said, it was things that I would have probably recommended for Kristen to take. But we needed to know what current microbes is in her gut right now that is beneficial or responds to inflammation to certain foods. So we literally leave out the guessing game. So if you are, someone who is busy on the go, like my girl Lindsay here, and you have, or even if you're an autoimmune warrior, you're a busy woman who is challenged by autoimmune disease or digestive issue, and you really want to have a more holistic plan, definitely go to herbible.co, check out our offerings, and book a consultation call. And we can talk more. Even from the consultation call in itself, you'll walk away with a lot, but we can also discuss and talk to see if the Divine Women Power Plan is right for you. Because there's some that we might not need to go to that extent. But definitely go to our website, check everything out. If you have any questions, feel free to send an email or even message me and DM on any of the platforms. I'm Thrive with LC on most of the social platforms, or even if you find Hervival on Instagram or Hervival_. If you send a DM, whether I see it or my team get it, we'll definitely get to you and answer any questions you have. Any last words before we close out, Lindsay?
Well, I just want to thank you for the space that you've created for people like me, women like me. My life is busy. I kept it real brief on here, but my life
Super
is really,
busy.
really busy, and you've made this easy. You've made it simple. You've made it straightforward. I've been telling everybody like that I can tell about it because um, when you're dealing with chronic pain every single day, I'm dealing with, chronic acid reflux, which has improved. Yes, vastly improved since, being on the plan. I am just very, very thankful for you, Lauren, and I wish you much success with this plan, with this, what you're doing in this space.
Thank you so much, Lindsay. I'm just, that's the best thing. Like what you just said, you made this to be easy, because this could be very complicated. It could be very
Yeah.
complex. And it took me years. I've been coaching women for 10 years. And I feel like I've always found, like, for me, I can't, if it's just too much, too hard, too much brain capacity, because we're literally using our brain capacity in everything we do, being super busy. I work with a lot of women like Lindsay who do a lot of things. They can't sit still. And that's some of the reasons, but we can still find where we can, because they're very passionate about their work. That's what Lindsay just said. I'm multi-passionate. So how can we still live our lives to be multi-passionate, but still have some harmony and some peace and good health, Um, and I'm so happy that you found that. And I'm excited to see if we've seen these results in such short time. I can imagine where you'll be 6 months to a year from now, because I'm
Oh,
seeing it, like looking at you on camera, and you look good, girl.
thank you.
I love it. And it sounds like, just the energy, because this
Yes.
autoimmune warrior life, people don't understand. We're not procrastinators and tired and lazy. we're tired, but we might not be lazy, but it's a way that you can get some life back into you. So again, if you want to learn more about our Divine Women Power Plan, you can go to herbible.co, check out our offerings. We also have a membership and community. There's some that may not need or work one-on-one per se, but they're looking for a community. They're on their holistic journey and they're looking for a tribe of sisters. You could definitely